Today we take a look at The Girl on the Train, the new film directed by Tate Taylor, which is the film adaptation of the book by Paula Hawkins.
I saw her. I saw her from the train.
So The Girl on the Train is the film adaptation of the book by Paula Hawkins. I've read the book and I've seen the film, and here are my thoughts. The Girl on the Train will inevitably draw comparison to the 2014 hit film Gone Girl, which was directed by David Fincher. The reason for that is because both were multi-million-dollar best-selling books that were thrillers, same genre, similar premise, similar ideas. And whereas Gone Girl had the benefit of being written for the big screen by Gillian Skinner, the author of the Gone Girl book, this film, The Girl on the Train, did not have that benefit. Now, I can't give too much away in terms of the plot, because unless you've read the book, you obviously won't have any idea what's going on. It's the type of movie that you need to really sit down and watch to get an understanding. But in short, there are these three women, they're all interconnected, and one day one of the women goes missing, and then a police investigation ensues. Emily Blunt catches the train every day to the city, and she notices these strange things going on, and she becomes a part of this investigation. To start with a few issues with this film, I would say Emily Blunt probably was a miscast in this type of role. She's been phenomenal recently in the likes of Edge of Tomorrow and Sicario, pulling off the roles with ease. She does have this really great way of depicting someone who's broken, who's an alcoholic, a drunk, someone who's on the verge of a mental breakdown. But I would have pictured someone else more like a Renee Zellweger type of person to play her type of character, because she seems too serious for this type of role. Regardless of that, she still pulls it off. All the actors in the film, apart from her, did a good job of bringing the novel to the screen, and they were exactly as I pictured them when I had read the book. The other issue that some people will have is that the novel setting has been changed from the middle of London to somewhere in upstate New York, America. Not that I had a major issue with that, but it does sort of feel a little different in a different setting. The other problem with this film that people will find, especially if you haven't read the book, is that it jumps from time period to time period, from the past to the present, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, and back again. And also it jumps from one character's life to another, and shows you a insight into the lives of each character as a major event unfolds. And there was no real smooth transition in some points. I guess the other major issue that you have with any novel to film adaptation is that there are parts of the book that should have been kept in the book and not brought to the big screen, and again vice versa. There are parts that they could have put to the big screen that were left in the book. And if you've read the book, you'll get an understanding as to what should have been kept in, left out. That's why ultimately this film didn't really reach the heights that we would have expected. It was just somewhat okay. It didn't really keep you on the edge of your seat at times. It could have been a little more predictable as well, which was another thing. And it was one film that I had hoped would have been one of the highlights of the year. It was one of our most anticipated. Sadly, the film failed to reach the heights that it was supposed to. So the film was just okay, in a sense. It didn't really reach that dramatic height that I would wanted it to. Even at the end, it was quite a thrilling climax. Tate Taylor had this way of getting really close up to the characters, and sometimes you feel a little bit too close with the camera angles. That was another problem with it. But look, all that aside, they did a fairly decent job of bringing it to the big screen. They could have done a lot more to make it a much more thrilling experience, but the ending, the climax, was good. I think I can only give this film about a 3 out of 5, because it didn't really reach the heights that the book did. I loved the book. I thought the film was just okay, and a lot of people are saying that. That in mind, I'd love to know what you thought of the movie and what you think are some of the best film to book adaptations. Let me know in the comments box below, and if you like what you see and you want to see more, feel free to like, share and subscribe to this channel. See you later.